Inside the SCCA, welcome to this episode, bonus episode from the Lincoln Air Park, the Tire Rack SCCA Solo Nationals. I am still here in Lincoln, but you're seeing this the following Wednesday, so a bonus episode. We're using our regular episode this week to get you some more interviews from Solo Nationals. Got a great lineup, so let's not wait for me to waste any more time. Let's get right to those interviews. We're here at Solo Nationals. Brian Mason, how are you?
Doing fantastic, actually.
We're what now? 18 days into this, it feels
Almost,
like.
yeah. I don't want to count, but I guess it's probably day, 11, 12, I forget.
Yeah.
As far as, obviously it's a year-long process, but
Yeah.
but as far as time on site, we got on site Sunday, like a week before.
It's been a while.
So, yeah, it's a little
Coming
while.
up on 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Coming up on 2
Yeah.
weeks. At what point do you say, I think we've got it? Is it tomorrow at 9 o'clock or when you're wrapped up on Monday morning?
So this whole, the event itself is actually two events.
Yeah.
So we have the Pro Solo Finale,
Yeah.
and we have Solo Nationals. So it's kind of a interesting kind of setup thing. In other words, we come in and we start setting up for Nationals.
Right.
Then we take a break, and we run a Pro Solo,
Sure.
and then we start setting up for Nationals again.
I know.
So it's so there's when the setup is relatively. We have a great crew, got a lot of experience out there. People have done it for years. We have a plan. So setup's pretty relaxed,
Yeah.
as long as the weather's good.
Sure.
And then we stop and we do a Pro Solo. And so when Pro Solo's over, that's the big,
Yeah.
right? Because that was the big relax, I was good, finally done, right?
Yeah.
But then we still have another day of setup left. So it's
Yeah.
kind of nice to be able to get back into it again. But then, to be honest with you, we have such a good crew of people. And by a crew of people, so we're 1,300 strong out here,
Yeah.
1,250 something, right? Every one of those drivers is also a worker.
Sure.
Right? It takes everybody to put this event on. And being in national championships, every one of those people are experienced in
Right.
some way or another. So it's really a matter of just planning out, putting the right people in the right place, and it's they know what they're good at, and
Right.
we actually give them a choice.
Right.
And so it generally goes pretty smooth.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so it's the things that you can't control, that you worry about, weather or
Right.
engines blowing, oil downs, some kind of thing that's not unexpected. It's expected, but you don't know when it's going to happen.
So I guess it's a double-edged sword because you come back to the same venue every year
We have been
for
a
the
while.
last
Yeah,
many years,
yeah.
which means you kind of know the area. You
Yep.
know what's here. You know what you're working with.
Yep.
But you can also get stale and stagnant
Totally, yeah.
when
for sure.
you come
Yeah.
back to the same venue over and over
Yeah.
again. How do you avoid that? Because even from
you're,
last
you're
year,
assuming we do.
well, even from last year to this year, there's a different vibe.
Okay.
Obviously, last year was huge because it was the 50th, and there
Yeah.
was so much pomp and circumstance with that. This year, it ain't the 50th, and we had a hoedown.
Yeah.
Is that kind of part of it, is to find a good theme, and that helps keep it
That
fresh
helps a lot,
every year?
right? Yeah, keeping it fresh, right? That's one thing. Learning from previous mistakes or what didn't go as well.
Right.
That's a big thing. And but yeah, a lot of it is the theme is huge.
Right.
And so, but really, it's people just want to come out here and have a good time.
Sure.
And so we just have to figure out how to let them.
Sure.
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 And let them do what they want to do. We'll put some courses together. We'll have some food, that sort of thing. But really,
Yeah.
that's it. It's we want to have a serious competition. It's a national championship
Yeah.
when all said and done.
Oh,
Right?
it
Which
is.
is kind of a big deal.
Yeah.
And so we have to treat everything from the grid that way, legitimate.
All
you know,
business.
this all business.
Yeah.
100%. We got a rule book. This is how it works. This is how we're supposed to put the event on. We're going to do that, and then everything else. But that doesn't really. A lot happens before that ever happens,
Right.
There's
Yeah.
a pretty good vibe going out here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Before we cross over that line,
Absolutely.
and that really that kind of sets the tone.
So I love giving people props on the podcast. Whose decision was it to do the block party?
It's I don't know there was any single person's
Okay.
decision, right?
Or whose idea was it?
Well, I think if I name somebody, I'll be
Okay.
wrong, right?
So let me just put out there, you know who you are.
Yeah.
Okay, whoever the collective you is, and whoever the idea person was, the block party was a smashing success.
Yeah, it's because it's one of those things, right? It's like, let's try this. What about this? Hey, what if we do this, right? And one of them sticks. It's like, yeah, that's a good idea. Let's go that route.
Yeah.
And so when it did, Rick Myers took it and ran with it, and man, and I think it's a good time.
I was absolutely a good time. Let's forget about the food. The food was fantastic.
Yeah.
But even without the food, just the whole everybody walking around, shaking hands, sitting at a table across people you might not know, and chatting people up. It was just a very different vibe than sitting down under the tent, which is nice too.
Yeah.
But like when I went into the tent last night, a lot of people know me and all that kind of stuff, but I don't know a lot of people. I'm horrible with names and faces. If people have it, I was looking. Okay, it's Brian Mason. Okay, that's who I'm talking to this time. But
bigger ones.
But and you never wonder where exactly big. But like I didn't. I sat by myself, which is fine because I didn't really try.
Right.
But with the block party, you're just standing in line with people. You start talking, they talk to you. It was a very cool thing.
Completely. Yeah.
Loved
it's a fantastic idea. I mean, years and years and years of welcome party coming in here, and for what it's worth, everybody knows what it was like.
Sure.
And and just to think, wow, that that's really party, right?
Yeah.
It was so it was. I don't have a lot to do with planning of those things, right? So I stay on the competition side.
Yeah.
But holy smokes, it was.
It was a good time.
When you get ideas, right? It's like that's a brilliant idea, right? So it was, and then you let everybody's good at things, right? I mean, we've got a whole bunch of members out there. There's a whole bunch of members that are good at different things.
Yeah.
And there's a whole bunch of members that are good at cooking.
Yeah, we found that out.
Yes, we did.
We found that out. I had a hard time putting my seatbelts on when I had to go race the next morning. Had a little too much pulled pork. It's good stuff. It was good stuff. So the weather steward has been in our favor all week.
Is that right? Yeah.
We've had great weather.
Yeah.
The competition has been fantastic, and I'm excited to I'm already thinking about 2025.
Well, that's exciting. Yeah. I mean, I can't say that we're not, right? I mean,
of course.
we're always it's like you always got that file open, right? 25 note.
Cool.
But yeah, it's been so far so good.
Right.
It's Wednesday night comes around and Thursday and Friday it's kind of like you start with a whole group of new drivers,
right?
New workers, so to speak, and so it's a whole different thing. But you're also on the downhill side, So that's you start breathing a little bit of relief and as the day goes through. But yeah, now's when you start thinking about 25.
So I don't normally prep people with questions before I do this. This is one I probably should have prepped you on, but I'm going to ask anyway.
Yeah.
Of the first 2 days of competition, is there a story that sticks out in your mind, a first-time winner or something like that, or just a great battle that you heard of?
I mean, the honest answer to that is, I try to get around through the grids and watch people and see what they're doing, but really I spend all of my time watching things other than the course.
Sure.
And because I know that cars are launching,
right?
Cars are finishing, times are going on the board,
right?
And we've got that all under control, and for the most part, right? And
under control-ish.
But we have times getting posted, times are going, and things are happening really good. So unless I see something or know somebody or have an interest in something, then I try to stay out of all that, and just let let the folks that we put in that place happen, and then I just try to make sure that things are where they need to be when they need to be in that. Do I have any favorites? I mean, it was certainly fun to watch F Street.
Yeah.
I mean, oh my gosh.
I was the only thing I'm pissed about in this whole week is that I was running in the same group as F Street. Because I would have loved to plant my tuchus on a bleacher and watch that whole thing go down.
So last year I drove F Street.
Okay. So you're even closer to it than I am.
Yeah, well, I don't know about that. I had a ride, right? Somebody offered me a ride in F Street. But I love that class, and those are fun cars to drive. And I driving in this event is second to, making sure it runs good.
Right.
So I don't, like this year I'm not driving. But this, I would have, even though I'm not competitive in any of that, it would have been really fun to be inside of that grid, not from a walking through standpoint, but from being part of it. But that was certainly a fun one to watch. But there's a lot of there's so many good classes and people. whether it's older classes, like a lot of the prepared classes
Sure.
and stuff, not a whole lot of changeover there,
Right.
drivers wise, and so there's always that. But gosh, I mean, they're all
Yeah.
There's a lot of fun ones out there.
Whatever I get one of the bigs on, my final question is always, and I know it's hard because you're hyper focused still on this year, but what are you excited about for the future?
I think excited about another chance to make it better.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice knowing that, we're here again next year. I mean, do we know that for sure? Right? You never really ever know.
Right.
But I mean, no. But it's, it's looking back. Even before you put this event on, you figure out mistakes.
Right.
And you can't turn them around yet, right?
Right.
Because it's like, well, it's too late now, right? We're too far down the road. But for me, it's it's always that quest of putting on the best event we can,
Sure.
whether it's internally or externally or
Right.
for the customer and user, whatever it is, right? And so that's really that. For me, that's what it is.
Yeah.
It's just we did pretty good.
Yeah.
We can do better.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Awesome.
so-
Brian Mason, thank you so much for putting on a great event. Thank you for having me and helping me with a place to park
Yeah,
and all
yeah.
that kind of
Good
stuff.
neighbor.
We shared a paddock spot
Yep.
this year, so I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
We're here at the 2025 Tire Rack SCCA Solo Nationals.
Technically 24.
Oh, let's start over.
You're a little ahead.
Yeah, I'm already dreaming about next year. I'm not even going to start over. I'm already dreaming about next year, Hayward.
It seems like everybody is.
Inside the SCCA, Hayward Wagner is here with us. Hayward, you've been on the show a ton of times. We really appreciate that. This is kind of your bailiwick here, right? This is your big event under your purview.
Yeah, I mean, for me personally, this is my 24th time here.
Yeah.
I've ran 23 of them, and this is probably, we could do a whole show on my relationship with this event and the super toxic years of deep level competition, and then, working through the program and getting to where we are now. But really and truly, we talk about this line right here that we're standing near,
Yeah.
as the Mason-Myers line.
Okay.
And the Mason side is where the courses and the grids and the
Yeah.
scales and sound and all that stuff is. And that's all Brian Mason's domain.
Right.
And then everything north of the line, the
Yeah.
Myers side, is Rick Myers. And last year we did the 50th. It was a really, really big lift. We had some really significant kind of emergency situations late in the summer, right leading up to nationals. And I really came into the event as a leader in the organization, ill prepared to execute. And when we were planning this year, I was really clear with those guys, I can't be in that position again.
Yeah.
And the only way to ensure that I'm not in that position is to make sure I'm leaving enough bandwidth for things that come up that are unexpected, unplanned. And that's really how we should be structured.
Right.
They should be really focusing on the tactics and making sure that we're delivering the right program. And I should be focused on making sure they have the resources and whatnot that they need. So a long way to answer your question. Rick and Brian have just absolutely crushed it this year. Rick has done an amazing job on his side of the line. And as everybody knows, if Brian doesn't deliver on his side of the line, then we just look like idiots for throwing a great party in a bad event. So we've been really focused on making sure that both sides of the line are well executed.
Well, and I've been paddocked right on the line, and I haven't seen either one of them for pretty much the whole time. So they're out there busting their butts, doing a lot of work to make this thing happen.
Yeah, I think Rick, sometime Monday afternoon, accepted the role as the chief trash manager for the event.
Okay.
And Brian, to his credit, he has a great team on his side of the line that really executes well for him, and he's just troubleshooting the little stuff. But it's really been insignificant. I have not heard of a timing-related rerun so far this year. We are struggling a little bit with sound and how we do it. I got caught in that. Had to make some adjustments, but that's part of the game. That's part of how we are responsible citizens in our space and retain sites and all of those things. And I did not come prepared, and I will next time.
And one of the big guys in the club was forced to make it work. So there's no special treatment going on.
Oh,
here.
No. Barry Ott was our sound steward, and he did a great job. He was very calm and direct with us, and it is a fluid matter,
Right.
and it's a pretty clear matter. And I think the lesson I learned was it doesn't really matter where you think you are. You come to grid prepared.
Sure.
Everybody brings tools. Everybody brings the things that they need, and one of the tools that we need, we borrowed a little cone from Robert Lewis. and we went from 108 and 109 down to 99 and 98.
Okay.
So it's
And I drive a Honda Fit, so I never look at the sound numbers. What is the number you were
108.
trying to hit?
108.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
cool.
And that's up from a normal 103. We give a little bit more here because it is the championship.
Right.
People are pushing harder. The courses are longer. There's typically more open throttle here. And then, of course, wind is also a challenge.
Sure. So, how did you do?
I'm really pleased. In my mind, at Nationals, there's kind of three types of results. You're on
Yep.
the podium, you're in the trophies, you're in the top half.
Right.
And I was in the trophies. It was a
Nice.
54 car class, so we had ample trophy
Yep.
range. And I had a shot on my last run to try to crack the top 10. Didn't make that happen, but I held on to 13th, which was
Nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with it. Lucky number 13.
Yeah.
And then my co-driver, Matt Busby, his first Nationals, I think he said it was his 8th or 9th autocross ever.
Right.
He hit the top half.
Nice.
So we were really excited to.
That's fantastic.
First year the car's been here, third autocross it's ever done in its life. So
Sure.
it was a lot of fun.
Which car, which class?
So we were running in Extreme Street A,
Okay.
which is the heavier of the Extreme Street classes.
Got it.
In a RX-8
Okay.
with a 13B turbo.
Oh, yeah.
And
That's
yeah.
got to be a hoot to drive.
The best word is violent. You know, you whatever you ask it to do, it does it immediately.
Right.
And I've autocrossed a whole lot of cars with just the lap belt. This is one you
Yeah.
want the 5-point harness. You want
Yeah.
to be locked in for.
Absolutely. So, lots of successes this year. And I don't get paid to say it, but I'm going to say it. A lot of questions, a lot of scuttlebutt with Club Spec Mustang, Club Spec MX-5 this year. We come to Solo Nationals. There's a good group of both of them. Everybody who seems to have them seems to enjoy driving them. That has got to be one of the success stories coming out of this year.
Yeah, I think so. I think there's several. I think the Main Street experiment has gone really, really well. I think our operations have gone really, really well. We just had a Club Spec demo day up at the practice course.
Right.
And it was very informal, very laid back. We had 7 Mustangs and 3 Miatas. We ran solidly from 9 till noon, about
Right.
3 hours. Estimates is most of the cars got between 60 and 70 runs on them, and most
Nice.
people took 1 or 2 runs in each.
Yeah.
So we think we probably had about 100, 150 people up there. And what was really, I think, heartening to hear was the number of people who came up absolutely out of curiosity.
Right.
Just want to see what
Sure.
it is. That got out of the car and immediately walked over to someone from Falcon or someone from Mazda or to Sam Strano and said, "Hey, tell me more."
Yeah.
And, you know, it wasn't exactly a shut up and take my money moment
Sure.
for many people, but I think a lot of people now have a really clear understanding of what those cars are capable of. There was one person in particular who came up just to see what it was all about.
Right.
He lives here.
Okay.
He's running in, I think, the second or third heat. He called his wife and said, "Don't worry about coming to watch me run. Go drive that car. I think
Yeah.
we want to do that next year."
Yeah.
So that was really cool to see.
Awesome. What are you excited about right now going forward? I mean, keeping in mind that at the end of the event we're all
Yeah.
tired and exhausted.
Yeah,
But if
for
you
sure.
can put that hat away,
Um,
what are you excited about looking ahead?
So the next, I mean, obviously we have time trials nationals and runoffs and rallycross nationals and all of that stuff coming up, and I'm really looking forward to all that. I really enjoy the pit lane gig at runoffs. That's a great, huge departure from what I normally do. My team and I do a annual debrief retreat in Weaverville, where I live, in November, and I always love getting together with them.
Right.
And we're all dispersed. We don't see each other face to face, not at events hardly at all. And so just all of that. I really enjoy the third and fourth quarters. PRI and all that stuff is a really good time of year. But I'm fired up for next year's solo season. I think Brian's doing a great job with the National Series. Rick has helped Regions acquire 6 new sites this year, and so
Yep.
we're seeing growth and sustainability in all the places that we want it. I bought this car back in November or December, and ran a couple of hill climbs with it, done a couple of time trials, but this is the first time really autocrossing it, and I had a blast with it. So I need there to be at 180 weekends a year. That would allow me to do everything that I wanted to do.
Sure.
But
There aren't that many.
Yeah, there are not. No.
Yeah.
But
And
yeah,
you got kids.
I got
and-
kids.
Yeah,
and,
I know how it goes.
Yep. But they really like coming out and doing this stuff and being
Good.
a part of it too, and that both makes it easier for me to justify, but also just a lot more fun for me.
Cool.
It's really cool to have, particularly when we go do a hill climb, and I've got one kid working the start line and one kid helping park cars at the top of the hill, and the other kid, running through the woods and looking for fruits and berries and whatnot. So it's a good time. But I
Yeah,
think
I look anytime I can get back from the racetrack with my kid and have not had stopped at the emergency room is a good week.
yeah, that is true. That is very, very true. I was very much that kid. For a long time, I was largely known in the Southeast Division as the kid who got his head stuck in the fence at Charlotte Motor Speedway. So
That does not surprise me.
It happens to the best
I didn't
of
meet
us.
you to your college years,
but
that
tracks.
does not
It
surprise
tracks.
me at all.
Yeah. And then I will say I'm really excited for this event next year.
Yeah.
I think personally, I had to leave last year on Tuesday morning with COVID, and it was really like I kind of had an initial I feel like crap, and this event's hard already. And if this is a COVID positive, I'm just going to go home and rest. And when I got the positive, I was like, thank God I can just go home and rest. And part of that, I think, was just that I was sick. And part of it is a hard event.
Yeah.
It's a hard event for competitors. It's a hard event for staff. And by the time I got home, having listened to the announcers all the way, I was really heartbroken that I wasn't able to compete. I wasn't able to extend my start streak. That I wasn't able to see my friends, that I wasn't there when we gave the Driver of Eminence and Solo Cup,
Yeah.
All of these markers in the event, the Sunset Toast, I really missed it way, way more than I anticipated.
Yeah.
And so I came into this year with a really different perspective on the event, really different attitude than I've ever had before. And that has netted a very different event experience than I've ever had
Yeah.
before. So my eagerness to come back, to keep working on both sides of the Mason Myers line and make sure that we're delivering the experience our members want and appreciate. I am mindful that the vast majority of people here are taking PTO.
Yeah.
I am mindful that this is how they choose to spend the limited free time they have, and it's an honor that they do that. And it's really, we feel a tremendous amount of responsibility into delivering something that's worthy of that time.
Yeah. So for those who don't know, Inside the SCCA wouldn't be a thing without this guy. You embraced the idea very quickly, helped me get the club to allow me to use the name, and I use that name with very much reverence, and I take it real seriously, and I think we do a good job of showing all the different slices of the club. Next year, my hope is to be at Time Trial Nationals. That's the one I want to add next year to the live podcast on-site stuff. So, Hayward, thank you.
My pleasure.
Good luck with the rest of the event.
Thank
Got
you,
a couple
sir.
more days to go. And I would plan to sit here and stand here and have this conversation with you again next year.
Excellent. Thank you for the time.
All right, it's Inside the SCCA from the Tire Rack SCCA Solo Nationals. That's going to do it for another episode of Inside the SCCA. If you like what you heard or like what you saw, subscribe to the Racing Network on YouTube and the Racing Wire Podcast Network on all of your favorite podcast platforms so you won't miss any episodes. Also want to remind people that if we could get to 1,100 subscribers by September 25th, 2024, we're going to give away one entry to next year's Solo Nationals. So all we have to do is get to 1,100 subscribers by September 25th. That's September 25th of this year, by the way. If we could get to 1,100 subscribers, we'll be giving away one entry to next year's Solo Nationals. I'm just going to pick a random person off the entry list next year and take care of their entry. A big thanks to everybody who's been on the shows all last week and today's show as well. If you like what you heard, please subscribe, hit the like button, leave yourself a comment in the comment section. All of that is helpful for us. I'm Brian Polanski. This is another episode of Inside the SCCA. Stay safe and go play with cars.
Make their head drop.